Well, it's fall in the northern hemisphere, or as it's known in some other regions, autumn. And if you're in a place that experiences the four seasons, you'll probably relate to the cartoon we're featuring today, 1941's The Little Whirlwind. Hi, I'm Dennis, and this is West of Neverland. If you love classic Disney animation and behind-the-scenes stories, then this is the place for you. Today we're diving into The Little Whirlwind, where Mickey Mouse, proud and eager, tries to win Minnie's heart and a piece of cake by raking her leaves.
You won't know the place when I get through.
Only to be undone by a mischievous little whirlwind that spirals into full-blown chaos. In just 8 minutes, the studio introduced a redesigned Mickey and tried to recapture his original playful spirit. Let's get to work. The story of The Little Whirlwind actually traces back to a short released 7 years earlier, Playful Pluto, in 1934.
Come on, shake!
That cartoon is best remembered for the legendary flypaper sequence, one of the earliest and most famous examples of personality animation, where Pluto struggles to free himself with growing frustration. But that short also featured another standout moment, a gusty little whirlwind. While Pluto causes most of the chaos in this short, the wind actually tries to help, gathering the scattered leaves into a basket just before Pluto jumps in and ruins everything again.
Now see what you've done, you big clown!
That small gag, with a wind as a helpful but independent force, stuck with the animators, and by 1941 it had evolved into the central conflict of its own story. Only this time the whirlwind isn't cooperative. It's mischievous, persistent, and just clever enough to stay one step ahead of Mickey. In that sense, The Little Whirlwind is more than just a yard work gag. It's a reimagining of earlier ideas, pushed further and staged more elaborately. In The Little Whirlwind, Mickey Mouse received a notable but short-lived design update that set him apart from his earlier 1930s appearances. Developed by animator Fred Moore, this redesign was part of an effort to modernize Mickey's look during a time of stylistic transition at the studio. The most striking change? His ears. For the first time in a released short, Mickey's ears were animated in perspective, instead of being locked as flat, front-facing circles.
Whoopee! I'll cut him down to my size.
They rotated naturally with the movement of his head, creating a more dimensional and lifelike appearance. Maybe the animators made that change to his ears so he could wiggle them, or so they could interact with his hat more realistically, giving opportunities for additional gags. His ears weren't the only tweak, though. Mickey's body was slimmed down, and his head, hands, and feet were enlarged slightly for added expressiveness. Moore also gave him a new facial quirk, a set of buck teeth, visible mostly when he whistles, talks, or pulls a goofy expression. It's a design choice, the teeth that is, that only appears once more in Canine Caddy, released later that same year.
Ah, what a swell day for a game of golf.
Interestingly, early model sheets for The Little Whirlwind still show Mickey with his traditional circular ears, suggesting this redesign wasn't finalized until the animation phase.
Okay, Toots, it's a deal.
And Mickey wasn't the only one with the visual update. Minnie also received a more streamlined look and the dimensional ears in this short, aligning her with Mickey's evolving animation style.
I've nothing for loafers. Good day.
It was a bold, slightly rubbery look, one that made Mickey feel more contemporary, but didn't stick for long. By the end of World War II, the design was quietly retired. Minnie reverted to her original flat-eared design first in 1946's Bath Day, and Mickey followed in 1947's Mickey's Delayed Date,
Oh, hello, Minnie.
marking the end of this brief design experiment. One of the most fascinating things about The Little Whirlwind is how it weaves together pieces from earlier Disney cartoons, both visually and musically. Toward the end of the short, when the tiny whirlwind is suddenly joined by a full-blown tornado, or tomato as I used to say when I was a kid, parts of the chaos are animated using recycled footage from 1935's classic The Band Concert. If you've seen both shorts, the connection is unmistakable. The destruction of the farmhouse and the tornado pulling up a gate and fence are lifted directly from the band concert's own Twister finale. Even the musical score is a repeat, the Storm segment from Rossini's William Tell Overture. This is the same dramatic cue used during the band concert's tornado sequence. But that's not the only moment of deja vu. As Mickey gets swept up and spins inside the tornado, the animation echoes his whirlpool moment from the Sorcerer's Apprentice segment in Fantasia in 1940. While it's more of a stylistic reference than recycled animation, it draws a clever visual parallel between Mickey, the hapless magician, and Mickey, the hapless gardener. Even the short's opening gag, Minnie peeking into her oven to check the cake, was repeated the following year in Mickey's birthday party when Goofy does the very same thing. These reused gags and bits of animation weren't just budget-saving measures, they were also smart ways for the animators to build on what had already worked. Whether it was a piece of storm animation or a familiar musical cue, these callbacks added a layer of familiarity and continuity for audiences, even if they didn't consciously realize it. Beyond the Whirlwind and redesign, the Little Whirlwind also has a few surprising names tucked into the credits. Some went on to leave major marks on Disney history. This short is credited to 3 directors, one of whom is James Algar. Algar directed the Sorcerer's Apprentice sequence from Fantasia. Maybe that's where the Whirlpool callback came from. He would later serve as the lead creative on the true life adventure nature films.
For with the dawn will come the month of June, and with it, the ladies. Yes, here they are at last, right on schedule.
He also worked directly with Walt Disney in developing the Hall of Presidents concept for the 1964 New York World's Fair, which would ultimately become Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln at Disneyland.
The world has never had a good definition of the word liberty.
Among the animation team at the studio working on this short was Walt Kelly, later the creator of Pogo. Though Kelly isn't formally credited for this specific piece of animation, some have pointed to a possible visual in-joke. During the tornado sequence, a newspaper gets plastered across Mickey's face. Look closely and you'll see it says Bridgeport Post. This is a real newspaper from Bridgeport, Connecticut, where Kelly had once worked as a cartoonist and writer. After leaving the Disney studio in 1941, Kelly went on to work on comics for Dell, including several Disney titles. Most notably, he was the artist for the comic adaptation of Gremlins, a wartime story concept by Roald Dahl that Disney developed but never produced as a feature. Kelly's later creation Pogo bears a slight resemblance to his Disney Gremlins. And then there's the voice cast. Walt Disney continued voicing Mickey at this time.
Hey, Pluto! Here she comes!
While Minnie was voiced here by Thelma Boardman.
All right, but no more clowning.
If her voice sounds familiar, it might be because she also played Donald's shoulder angel in Donald's Better Self.
Wake up, Donald. Wake up. Wide awake. We must get up. All right.
As well as the mother quail and the female bunny in Bambi.
Good morning, Bambi. Good morning, young prince.
Thelma would go on to voice Minnie in several more cartoons, including The Nifty 90s,
Oh, thank you.
Mickey's Birthday Party,
Close your eyes. Don't peek.
and the wartime short Out of the Frying Pan into the Firing Line.
Pluto, how would you like some delicious hot bacon grease?
She was a versatile performer with a subtle but important presence in Disney's voice acting legacy. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Disney history, hit the like button and subscribe. I've got more stories like this coming your way. In just over 8 minutes, The Little Whirlwind delivers a classic cartoon premise with a Disney twist. Mickey offers to rake Minnie's yard in exchange for a slice of cake, only to find himself battling a playful, sentient, dust devil, determined to undo his every effort. After a series of slapstick struggles, Mickey finally appears to get the upper hand and chases the whirlwind off with his rake. The whirlwind flees down the road, calling out, "Mama, Mama!" And just when we think Mickey's won, he comes scurrying back in a panic, now being chased by a massive tornado. Sure enough, the little whirlwind follows happily behind, his mama having arrived to settle the score. The tornado wreaks havoc on Mickey and on Minnie's yard, undoing all his hard work. Inside the house, Minnie remains oblivious to the chaos, but when she sees Mickey amid the mess,
Oh, you clown!
Surprise!
she gives him the slice of the cake he was promised, right in the face.
Well, guess I don't get the cake, huh?
Oh, yes, you do.
The short was released by RKO on February 14, 1941, as part of Disney's regular rotation of theatrical shorts. Trade reviews at the time were modestly positive. Box Office Magazine gave it a fine rating in its March 29, 1941 issue, suggesting a competent, if unremarkable, entry by Disney standards. The Film Daily on March 27th called it an amusing cartoon, while Showman's Trade Review on April 5th noted that compared to other Disney cartoons, this one is a little below average, yet will delight adults and children alike. The Little Whirlwind may not be one of Mickey Mouse's most iconic shorts, but it captures a fascinating moment in Disney history, a time when the studio was experimenting with character design, repurposing visual gags, and refining the personalities of its stars. It's a cartoon full of small surprises, a rare redesign, a visual nod to its earlier hits, and a final punchline that lands quite literally right in the face. So what's your favorite underrated Mickey Mouse short? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me which ones still make you smile. And if you want to see how Mickey's look has evolved over the decades, from circular to perspective ears and back again, and everything in between, check out my video on all 13 of Mickey's design changes. It's a visual history worth exploring. Check it out, and I'll see you real soon.